So, a couple days late, but you know, better late than never. But let's talk about Final Fantasy VII and what Square Enix has planned for the next game that they're gonna just milk the hell out of. I don't want y'all to get the wrong impression. I don't hate this idea of what they're doing with Final Fantasy VII, but I saw this coming a mile away, and I'm just like, a part of me is curious, but then a part of me is just kind of like, I've seen this before. I know what they're doing. I don't know if it's going to be good. There's a lot of things that I have on my mind right now. First, let's just talk about the expansion for Final Fantasy VII, where you're going to include Yuffie. Now, to be honest, I didn't watch too much of the trailer. I mean, I saw the whole trailer, but I wasn't really paying attention to it. Be honest with you guys, I'm excited that they're adding Yuffie in, but I still, like, I don't know. To me, it's just too soon, you know? Like, we haven't, you know, it's been a year, kind of, that we've had Final Fantasy VII, and then it's throwing in, like, DLC. It almost feels like Final Fantasy 15, and then they started adding in, like, the Prompto story, the Gladius, the Ignis, and all this stuff, and it's just like, you know, they, like, chill out, like, hold up, let your game cool off for a second, let people, like, take it in and digest it, because there are a lot of people who still have an issue with that ending, myself included. Now, first off, the trailer, I'm gonna just say straight up, I don't know what it's about. Like, I know what it's about, but I don't. This is one of the bigger issues I have with, like, Japanese games, or, like, you know, trailers for Japanese games. I'm sorry, but the trailers suck. No, I'm not saying that the trailer sucks, but I'm saying, like, it sucks as in its presentation. Because, granted, give me, like, the full game, or, like, that whole piece, I can make a better trailer and just kind of narrow down what this is going to be about. We kind of get the idea, yeah, Yuffie's hunting for materia and all that stuff, but the way the trailer starts out, it's so broken, like, it doesn't make sense. Like I said, I'm totally for this, I'm going to buy it, but just the way they presented the trailer, it wasn't like that big kick, you know, that you needed. Like, when Final Fantasy VII was first announced, you have the trailer of the bird flying, and then you have the pervy sage, you know, like, just voiceovering the whole game, and then you see, like, the reunion of, like, Cloud Bear walking the streets. Like, that's a trailer, you know what I mean? Like, you get the idea, you know, like, it made sense. This one just feels broken. But besides that, the gameplay looks awesome, you know, playing as Yuffie, and, you know, she's gonna be, a spy for Wutai or whatever. That's what it looks like. And I mean, we've seen it before in Final Fantasy Crisis Core, and we saw it in, you know, like, all the old Final Fantasy VII stuff. It's just, oh my god. I don't know. The way they're presenting this trailer, it just seems rushed for me. That's what it seems to me, because I don't want to play this, like, DLC and it only be like an hour long and then that's it. Like, I'm just curious right now on how Yuffie is gonna fit into all of this, and I won't find out unless I play the game or the DLC, which I'm excited for. But, you know, with a PS5, it's gonna come out on the PS5 as well, and with that, it's gonna come with the DLC with Yuffie. So that's cool. You know, I'm all for that. I'm cool with that. Now, I just wanted to talk about that one real quick, but, like, let's jump back a little bit to what's coming out on the phones for Final Fantasy VII. This is where the milking, like, is just, it's out of control, alright? They come out with Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale. Do you know how many Battle Royale games are out there right now? Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty Warzone, DayZ. There's a butt ton of these, like, just Warzone, Battle Royale type games. And the last thing I needed was a Final Fantasy VII one. Now, hate aside, I'm gonna just, what I think of the Battle Royale. I mean, if it's free, why not? You know, like, just why not? I guess, you know, it's there. I'm not one to just, I mean, I just crapped on it a little bit, but I'm not gonna crap on it a whole bunch, you know, because, I mean, it's there. I'm not gonna play it. It doesn't bother me. I don't feel like the Battle Royale is gonna take away from development from Final Fantasy 16 or Final Fantasy VII Part 2 remake. But the only question I have is just why. Not only that, it's on iOS, like phones. I know people do play Battle Royale games on their phone devices, and you know what? That's cool. You know, whatever y'all want, whatever floats your boat. But Final Fantasy VII, to be jumping in, and this isn't Final Fantasy Battle Royale, this is Final Fantasy VII Battle Royale. To be jumping in to, like, that, like in just this oversaturated market of battle royales, jumped in a little bit too late, I think, me personally. But what bothers me the most about it is that it's part of the timeline. But how important is it really? So, in the Final Fantasy VII timeline, a bunch of soldiers landed in Midgar and killed each other. And the last one standing was the first soldier. That's what I got out of it. Now, this next announcement that I'm actually really excited for, but I'm a little disappointed at the same time. The Ever Crisis announcement, I'm all for that. Like that, I'm 100% all for that. I will buy that on my phone. Like my phone, like I work where really I don't really have a boss. But I mean, I have a boss, but I'm on my own time. In between jobs, I do not mind Ever Crisis. And you know what? What's even great? They have the original Final Fantasy VII game on there and Before Crisis. It's a whole Final Fantasy VII compilation into one app, one game. That's amazing. Now, why I'm disappointed about this is because not only is it only on iPhone, but they have Crisis Core in there. And for people who have watched my channel for like since the before times, y'all know Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core is like my favorite Final Fantasy game, like of all time. Like okay, I'll take that back. I love all the Final Fantasy games, but like the Final Fantasy game that had the best story for me, that made me like really invest in the characters and I don't know, I've played that game so many times over and over. It was Crisis Core. I love the game to death. So it really saddens me that this game gets put on the iOS in the chibi version of what it's supposed. Like, why would you do that? Again, the Final Fantasy VII, we'll talk about that one later, but Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, why did they do the chibi version? So it opens up, like, they have that first story scene where Zack is on the train, kind of like mirrored to Cloud, and it shows the cutscene in the chibi form. It's just like, why would you put it in chibi form? I feel that this game, Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core, deserves its own remake. I think it is a very, very, very good game that deserves its own remake and nothing less. Like I said, this is on iOS, and it's really disappointing that it's there. Granted, if it came out like on PlayStation 4 or maybe the Nintendo Switch, which I've seen a lot of people talk about, that's understandable, and I'm cool with that. They did that with Final Fantasy 15. I'm okay with that. Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition doesn't bother me at all. But what bothers me is that this is exclusive to the phones, and I know Square Enix knows that there are other people like me who want Crisis Core remastered. It doesn't even have to be a full remake, just remaster, just port it over, HD it, like Type 0. Come on. And it's going to include Advent Children. I'm just curious, like, if that Advent Children, if it's a story or if it's going to be the movie. I'm pretty sure it's going to be the story, but the way it looked, I didn't. Again, that one, I guess I need to watch it again because I've only seen it one time and I'm talking about it. Then they have Dirge of Cerberus, and one that I know a lot of people are really excited for like, those Final Fantasy VII purists. They have Before Crisis. Yeah, Before Crisis, the only phone game to be released in Japan that was about the Turks, that's on there. So now's our chance. We can play it now. Now you have, like I said, Dirge of Cerberus, and then the remake for Final Fantasy VII, which it's technically the remake of the old game. So I guess they're giving us that, which, again, that one, I am okay with it, but then at the same time, I'm not. I don't understand, like, I understand why they're doing it. Like, I guess people can play the original game, and this kind of leads into spoilers of why I think they're doing it, why they're releasing this whole compilation, because no spoilers ahead, please. Like, if you have not finished the Final Fantasy VII remake and you've never played Final Fantasy VII ever in your life, click off the video now, because right now I will just talk about the ending to Final Fantasy VII, or at least give hints. So you've been warned. 5, 4, 3. Okay, I'm done. So this whole collection seems like it's catering to people who haven't played the original games but played the new one. And in this new one, in the ending, you have flashbacks and all this stuff, and it's like the original timeline happened in Final Fantasy VII. So like you're in an alternate universe, but people who've played that game or this Final Fantasy VII game never experienced the old stuff. So I feel like they're making this compilation for those people, not for the fans. I mean, partly for the fans. I mean, it could be for everybody, but I feel like that's the reason why. And to know that like all that other stuff of Final Fantasy stuff from 7 and like the before times, you know, like back then, is part of this new timeline. That throws me off a lot, and it's really confusing, you know. So it's kind of like you kind of have to play that to get the full scope of what's going to happen in the future. And that's where I'm kind of like, I'm torn. Like I'm excited because it's the original stuff, but then I'm not excited because of what they did in the remake. And I didn't like the ending to the remake. I love the game. The game was great. I just didn't like the ending. There's a lot of notes that it missed for me. And so I don't know what they're planning. Like I'm really confused. Like, where are you going, Square Enix? Where are you taking us? You know, like Square Enix is kind of like, they got us in the car, you know, and they're like, you know, they're driving us home, but they just passed our house like 4 blocks down. Now we're just kind of sitting there like, okay, where are we going? That's how I feel about this whole Final Fantasy VII compilation, Ever Crisis. Great concept. I'm excited for it. Am I going to get it? Yes, I am. I'm just really disappointed. One, Crisis Core not getting a remaster, and that it's not on consoles. It probably will eventually come to consoles, but you know, it is what it is. It's just, I guess, the whole Final Fantasy VII announcement, what it's turning into, it really looks like they're going to milk this game like they did 15. And they milked, you know, come to think of it, Final Fantasy, the Square Enix has milked Final Fantasy VII, because they gave Final Fantasy VII like a whole, like, you know, trilogy of movies basically. Like they did everything for that one. They milked Final Fantasy 13. Like, they gave us 2 extra games for no reason, just because they're like, hey, you know, we really want you to like this. And let me tell you, I love the games, hated the ending to Lightning Returns. And then 15 was happening, and they just milked the hell out of that one. Like, I was just, what are y'all doing? So, anyways, that's my thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what do you guys think about this announcement, because there's a lot going on with this whole Final Fantasy VII stuff. I personally think they are milking it, but that whole Ever Crisis idea, I'm all for it. Are you guys excited for that? Because me personally, I think of everything that was announced for Final Fantasy VII, the Ever Crisis announcement really has my eye, more than adding Yuffie to Final Fantasy VII. Like, I know I should be excited about Yuffie, but Ever Crisis really caught my eye, and I'm really going to be paying attention to that. So, I'm pretty excited for that. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And remember, when you guys are gaming, power up.